Welcome to the Intimate Marriage Podcast, where I teach educated, successful couples how to have incredible, passionate relationships so that you can stop compromising and start feeling fully alive in your relationship. I'm Alexandra Stockwell, aka the Intimacy Doctor. I'm a physician, a relationship and intimacy coach, and I'm an intimate marriage expert. My husband and I have been married for 27 years. We have 4 children and full professional lives, and we've created an amazing marriage. I've shown hundreds of couples how to do so as well. So if you want to deepen your understanding of your own relationship and learn to access new heights of emotional, sensual, and erotic intimacy, you're in the right place. I will show you how. Now, let's dive in. What's the most important part of your anatomy? To have pleasure, incredible sensations, and the most gratifying erotic sexual experiences. I'm gonna get into it, but first, let's start with a review. I'm so grateful to everyone who has left a rating or a review. It really helps grow the podcast and have more people listen so that more people have better and better and better marriages. So if you haven't left a rating or a review, please do so wherever you listen to the Intimate Marriage Podcast. And in the meanwhile, I would like to honor Finna Woman for writing, "I am binging this podcast. Alexandra is the real deal. Love the candid and real-life expertise you share. Thank you, Alexandra." You are most welcome. It's my pleasure. I'm so glad to share what I've learned in professional and personal contexts, and I'm glad it speaks to you. So going back to this question, what is the most important organ for sexual pleasure, delight, erotic expansion, sexual vitality? I'm curious to know what your answer was, what came into your mind. Because for many, I think the answer would be the clitoris. Or maybe, I don't know what your answer is. But the thing that I want to make sure you know very, very clearly, and that it's at least one of your big takeaways from this episode, is that really the most important organ for sexual pleasure, for intimacy and connection, is your brain. Because what you're thinking about, how you're thinking about sex, both when you're not having sex and you're thinking about it, and where your mind is focused during sex, well, that makes all of the difference. So let's get into a few aspects of this. I posted something on LinkedIn. So I had I'd shared episode 149, the 4-step process of dealing with loneliness in a relationship. And this is on LinkedIn. I'd written a post about the phenomenon of loneliness in marriage, which is really quite severe. And in response, Dr. Diana Londano, who's an amazing doctor, she's a urologist who is also a coach, and she works with sexual medicine and helping coaches who are facing burnout. She's just an amazing human and an amazing doctor. Anyway, her comment on my post on LinkedIn was, "I think plenty of people have sex and think about groceries, their to-do list, and what they need to do tomorrow." She went on to say, "I wonder if you know or there's data of how many couples truly feel soul-level, blissful connection during sex." Well, I'm not aware of any data on the number of couples that feel soul-level, blissful connection. In fact, for the academic in me, it's very fun to think of what metrics one would use to assess that. But I do want to point to what she says. This is someone who has lots of patients who are navigating challenges in sex. I think plenty of people have sex and think about groceries, their to-do list, what they need to do tomorrow. There's some data which actually is a number of years old now. It's from 2018, when the research showed that 1 in 10 people check their phone during sex. And for millennials, in 2018, it was 17%. Now, with the use of phones growing for all kinds of purposes in all kinds of contexts, and the pandemic and so forth, I don't actually have data from any study, but my guess is that the numbers have gone up, both for people in general who check their phone during sex and for millennials, and then, of course, people in younger generations as well. If you're someone who experiences sex as a frustrating mechanical duty, then I can understand checking your phone the same way you would if you're online at the post office and a little bit bored and just waiting until it's your turn to mail off your holiday packages. However, if you are erotically alive, if you are present, if you are intentional and attend to your attention, if you are in communication with your lover, well then checking your phone is the most absurd thing to do because it takes you out of the experience. And the way to get more from the experience is to be in the experience. So I wanted to start by sharing this data. If you're listening and you've checked your phone, well, as I say, you're not alone. And if you haven't checked your phone, but you think about your grocery list or, I don't know, needing to make a dentist appointment for one of your children, or that you need to figure out your outfit for some occasion, like there's so many different things that may pop into your head that really do not enhance the romance and actually have nothing to do with it. Well, first of all, I want you to know it does not mean there is something wrong with you or that you have some kind of pathetic habit. No, this is something that lots of people do. It doesn't need to be that way. So let's talk about how to change it. The first point really is that if you check out, if your mind goes somewhere else while you're having sex, that is normal. And the main thing to do is bring it back. And so here are some ways you can do that. When your mind wanders and maybe you're thinking about someone else and it's a fantasy, well, if you're good with that, great. And if you want to bring your attention back into the present moment and what is happening between you and your body and your partner and theirs, then what I'm going to say applies. And certainly if you're thinking about things that are unrelated to sex or wanting to check your phone or actually checking your phone, the first thing to do is, of course, to notice that you've taken yourself out of the experience. And then the next thing is to bring yourself back into it. And there are two main ways to do this. One is with the breath. If you slow your breathing and you take deeper breaths, I'm doing that now as I speak, and you can feel the energy in my voice shifted as the natural consequence of just slowing my breathing down and having it be deeper. That helps one become more present and more available to enjoy sensations or notice what your experience is and how you'd like to adjust it. And the other thing is to bring your attention back to your body. But that's kind of a vague statement because our body, when it comes to attention, like it takes practice to be able to bring it back to our whole body. So if you need to start here, just bring your attention to your heart and just let your heart open. So if that's where you need to start, if that's the most accessible thing in the moment, then start with bringing your attention to your heart. But once you're able, or maybe you already are, bring your attention to your genitals. Notice the sensations. Notice if you want things to be slower or faster, or if as you bring your attention to your genitals, you want to adjust location or pressure. Those are the main things to adjust. But either way, you don't really know what you want to adjust until you bring your attention to your genitals, at which point, if you're feeling good, enjoy it. And if you want something to change, then as I say, things can be faster or slower, more or less pressure, where they're located, the contact, or moving to the left or the right or up or down, whatever it is. And when your attention is actually on your experience in the way that I'm describing, and you notice that you want it to be a little different, then you can gently, without resentment, without blame, without thinking your partner should already know, you can gently, respectfully, and simply make a request. You can either adjust your own body, or you can say, a little bit slower, please. And notice how I'm saying that. I'm not saying, hey, that's too fast. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, a little bit slower, please. Or gentler, please. Or faster, please. Whatever it is. And you don't even have to say please, or you can, but very, very simple communications where it's very easy and clear to honor them. Now, if you're with someone and you experience that their attention is elsewhere, slow down and lighten your touch. And you can even say, hey, please come back. Or you could say, where are you? And then be prepared to have the erotic energy diminish a little bit as you get an answer. So if you ask the question, where are you? Then the answer is not necessarily going to contribute to building up the heat in the moment, but it will contribute to more intimacy, which then eventually leads to more sexual fire. Or you can just say, hey, come back. Or you can do it without words and just gently caress, because the more slowly and gently you touch, the more of an invitation to come back into the body. And once the two of you are both present and synced up, that is the time to get faster and more intense in the ways that can feel so good. But if you're disconnected from one another, faster and intense is not very likely. It's possible, but it's unlikely to bring you together and sync up. It's much more approachable to slow down and connect with one another and then go faster together. If we use an image, it's like instead of sprinting and hoping to be in sync, you can slow down really to a stroll, hold hands, and then from there, start jogging and sprinting and bringing yourselves to a glorious finish line together. So there's all kinds of things that I might have said about mindset around sex, meaning how you think about it, what you tell yourself when you're not having sex, but you're thinking about the sex you have had or the sex you are going to have, and the stories you tell about what's possible between the two of you. Maybe I'll do another episode on that, because your mindset around sex is incredibly important and influential in the sexual experiences you have. But regardless of your mindset outside the bedroom, so to speak, where your mind is, what your brain is doing, where your attention is during sex itself makes all of the difference. So I certainly hope that if your grocery list is calling, or the need to make a dentist appointment, or you notice that there are a few dust bunnies in the corner on the ceiling, I hope that your attention and focus on your breathing and bringing your attention back to your genitals overrides any call from the dust bunnies or the grocery list. I guess I'll say one more thing, which is our nervous system is designed for, I'm going to oversimplify, but share this in a relevant way. Our nervous system is designed for two states. One is relaxation and ease and really flourishing, which is where pleasure becomes possible. And our nervous system is also really designed to be vigilant, protect us, keep us safe, notice danger, and adjust physiologically and with our thoughts and actions to protect ourselves from danger. And when we are in that second state, when the sympathetic nervous system is activated, and we're thinking about our to-do list and noticing something that needs attention and we need to take care of it, we are in our sympathetic nervous system, and that just is not where pleasure arises. That is not where ecstasy can emerge and unfold. So everything that I've shared in terms of breath and bringing your attention to your body is also a way of shifting out of the vigilant state, the protective state, the tension of the sympathetic nervous system into the relaxation of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is where it's what's nourished through meditation. It's where orgasm happens. It's where we are fully present in the sexual experience that we are having. And when both of you are fully present, luxuriating in the relaxation and communion and connection, it doesn't matter as much what position you're in or what toy you use. No, it just creates a kind of intimacy that enhances any kind of sexual experience. So even if you never would have thought to check your phone and you don't think of your shopping list while you have sex, by all means, play with slowing and deepening your breath and explicitly bringing your attention to your genitals, and see how much more delight you get to experience.